right. How is everybody doing out there? It is so good to see you out there. Welcome to election night. My name is Dr. Lamont Francis, and just for the next few hours, I'm going to be your host tonight as we go ahead and talk about some of the issues concerning African Americans here in East County. I am the vice president of a new online paper called the East County North Star. The East County North Star was a paper that was started in the summer of 2020 in the wake of the national unrest dealing with police brutality. But the East County North Star was started to give African Americans living in East County a voice. Oftentimes our voice is not heard, or we feel like we're unseen, and our stories are told by another perspective. This paper is your paper. This paper allows your voice to be heard. And so we are so excited that you could join us. And so what we're going to do for the next few hours is we're going to be your Black CNN. Okay, my name is not Don Lemon, but we will have, this will be your Black CNN. And what we hope to do is give you updates. We hope that you went out, and we hope that you voted this year, and you voted today, or you voted by mail. And so we're going to talk about some of the major issues in East County. Did you not know that in East Contra Costa County, there are over 47,000 African Americans? That's a lot of black people, okay? And so we are forced to be reckoned with here. And just in the city of Antioch alone, you have over 22,500 African Americans living in the city of Antioch, which makes now Antioch the new black capital of Contra Costa County, recently surpassing the city of Richmond. And so we need to talk about black issues, and that's what we're going to do tonight. And so thank you so much. Come on in and let us know that you are here. Let us know that you are with us tonight, and we apologize. We had some technical difficulties. We apologize that we got on just a little later. So let's talk about some of the issues here in East County. We'll talk about black education tonight. We're going to talk about black poverty, black unemployment. We're going to talk about youth issues. Where do our youth, African-American youth, where do they have to go? Where are their places of recreation? Where are their jobs? We're going to talk about youth intervention and also criminal justice, which is a huge issue. And then if you stay tuned tonight, just stay with me tonight. If you stay tuned, we're going to have some of the candidates, the African-American candidates who ran for office this year. They're going to be coming out. And then we're going to interview them. And so we have a fun-filled program. But what we're going to do tonight, before we get into our guests and everything, we're going to go over all of the African-American candidates that we know of that have ran for office in East Contra Costa County. And no matter the result, win, lose, or draw, we want to say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Thank you for running. We understand the endless nights that you had worrying about your campaign, the signs, people taking your signs, putting them down, putting them back up, and the money that it takes to run this campaign and put the signs up, and also the countless meetings that you had with your team, and the stress that this campaign has put on you financially, also with your family, and also it has even tested your faith. But you came to the end, and guess what? Win, lose, or draw, you finished the race. And we want to say that the African-American community here in East County, we are proud of you. We are proud of you. So thank you again. Thank you so much. So without further ado, here's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to start talking about some of the many candidates. Some of them you know, some of them you may not know. Let's start with Bay Point. And so this is a paper we cover from Bay Point all the way to Discovery Bay. Let's start with Bay Point, and we're going to start with Sister Keisha Newey. Sister Keisha Newey. put that up on the screen. Keisha Newey. She is running for, she has been running for the school board trustee in the Mount Diablo Unified School District. So Keisha Newey is a force to be reckoned with. If you don't know anything about this sister is a sister that fights for racial equality. This is a sister that is fighting for equity in the schools for all children. And she is running for a school board for, I believe, candidate Area 3. Okay. Now, here's a little about Mount Diablo Unified School District. If you didn't know, I was once an administrator in that district and as a vice principal and as a dean of students there at Mount Diablo High. Shout out to Mr. Barbosa. God bless you, my brother. Mount Diablo Unified School District is comprised of just about 30,000 students, and it's about 5.2% African American. Now, the school that has the highest percentage of African Americans is right there in Bay Point, and it is Bel Air Elementary School, Bel Air Elementary School, which is has the highest percentage of African Americans at 12%. And Mount Diablo High School is not too far behind, and Mount Diablo High School has an African American population of about 8.1%. And so it's important that we have representation there on the school board. And Sister Keisha Newey, she is a force to be reckoned with. We need to get that sister. Hopefully you went out and hopefully you voted for her. And so as we get some of the outcomes, if we get them in as we're live on the air, we're going to let you know how this sister is doing. Also, it's important for you to know that Mount Diablo Unified School District just hired an African-American superintendent, Dr. Adam Clark, who came over from, you guys know him from Brentwood and Antioch Unified School District as an assistant superintendent, and then he went over to Vallejo Unified School District as a superintendent for the last several years. But now he is the superintendent of Mount Diablo Unified School District. And so we want you to support that brother, and all you can do and make sure that we push equity to him to make sure that African American students in that district get what they need, get the equitable outcomes they need. And so Keisha Newey, put that on the screen one more time. Keisha Newey is a force to be reckoned with, running for District 3, okay, for Mount Diablo Unified School District, and that should be covering a lot of the Bay Point area, okay? And so we want to make sure that we support that sister. Remember, Bay Point as a city is 11% African American, 11% African American. So shout out to Bay Point. If you're watching, anybody from Bay Point, go ahead and let us know that you're watching. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters at Bay Point. We see you. Holler back at your boy, Dr. Francis. All right. And so now, let's move to the city of Pittsburgh. Let's move to the city of Pittsburgh, and let's see what's going on there in the city of Pittsburgh. And so, running for Pittsburgh City Council is another new force to be reckoned with, Dr. Natisha Deal. And Dr. Deal is a success story in and of herself. Now, you talk about a woman who's overcome poverty. She's overcome homelessness, teenage pregnancy. And this woman is just phenomenal, because this woman overcame all of that as an African-American woman and went ahead and got a doctorate degree from the University of San Francisco. Now, she is a success story, win, lose, or draw. But she has been in the healthcare profession for the last 17 years. She is currently a healthcare professional. And this is a system who has multiple degrees, okay? So she has more degrees than a thermometer, okay? This woman is awesome, and she's running for Pittsburgh City Council. And so we hope that when you went to the polls that you showed Dr. Deal some love. Dr. Deal, shout out to you, sister. If you are watching, Dr. Deal, we hope that you did well. Now, running the other black candidate that is running for city council in this the city of Pittsburgh is the current mayor, Brother Jelani Killings. How you doing, Jelani? So I hope if you're watching, brother, we hope that you are doing well. This is another young brother, and so he is running for city council, and you already know that this is a man of faith. He is a praying man, and he's unashamed of his faith. And so, Pittsburgh, we hope that you showed love to this rising star. This young man could easily run for Senate one day and win. And so we hope that your campaign went well. Brother Killings, God bless you, my brother. Again, put that up on the screen. Brother Jelani Killings. Jelani Killings, okay? And so shout out to Jelani, and we hope that you are doing well. All right, moving along. Staying in the city of Pittsburgh, California. Staying in the city of Pittsburgh, so we're still in the P. We have running for Pittsburgh Unified School Board, a young lady, and she might have just graduated from high school a few years ago, and so she is a Pittsburgh Pirate. Shout out to Pittsburgh High School. Shout out to Sunitha Walker there, that's over there taking care of business as one of the counselors there. Mama Sunitha, we know you got these young kids back. Taylor Sims is her name. Taylor Sims, and Taylor is a non-profit project coordinator, and she had been the co-advisor for the Black Student Union at Pittsburgh High, and so she was an advocate as a student and as a young woman, because I know what I was thinking. I was not thinking about running for any kind of office at 19, 20, or 21 years old. That's not what I was thinking about. For her to do it at such a young age. God bless you, sister. We wish you success. And I know she was backed by Brother Willie Mims. And you know, if Willie Mims from the NAACP gives you his endorsement, you know you are doing something for black people, because Mr. Mims does not just endorse anybody. And so Taylor Sims, she organized, I believe, a Black Lives Matter march there in June in the city of Pittsburgh that was very, very successful. She is not only a leader of tomorrow, she is a leader of today. And so when you went to the polls, and then I know her family, she has been in Pittsburgh for a long time, her dad, I believe her parents and her grandparents. And so she is a seed of greatness, and she was trained in greatness. And sister, win, lose, or draw, you are great. You are great. And we are, you know I was not you were not one of my students, but I can let you know, Sister Sims, that we are very proud of you, and we wish you much success in your campaign. Taylor Sims again. Taylor Sims. All right. And then running for school board is the head of the school board, and you guys know Mr. George Miller. You guys know Mr. George Miller. He has been his resume is too long to list, okay? He has been in this area for a mighty long time as a teacher in Pittsburgh Unified and as an administrator, okay? When I first moved to Pittsburgh in 2003, and I was substitute teacher, and kids were cutting up in the classroom, I never will forget, Mr. George Miller came in there, and he regulated on all those kids. Mr. Miller was down there at the continuation school. I'll never forget, the dope dealers was on 10th Street in Pittsburgh selling that stuff, and Mr. Miller was chasing them down the street. He said, "You ain't gonna keep selling that dope in my school," you know. And so we love Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller is the original Joe Clark. Put that picture up there. Mr. George Miller is a parent of two students that went through the Pittsburgh Unified School District schools. Again, he is the president of the current president of the school board. And I'm gonna tell you, this is a man that loves students. He loves education, and I don't think he went there for you. As Zornia Hurston once said, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Just because they are colored doesn't mean that they are our kind. Okay? So I'm just letting you know that. Now, it's important that I say that because I don't want you to think that all we're doing is just endorse. We're not endorsing anybody. This is not a blue paper or a red paper. This is a black paper. So yes. So again, Mr. George Miller. We thank you, George Miller, not George Young. We're going to get to him shortly. George Miller. If I made a mistake saying that, George Miller is running in Pittsburgh for school board. All right. So let's move from there. Okay. Let's move to the city of Brentwood, Oakley. Let's move over there. Okay, let's move over there. Let's look at Dr. Tamala Hawley. Dr. Hawley, I hope you're looking. God bless you, Dr. Hawley. Dr. Hawley is running for school board in the Liberty Union High School District. And last year, I worked as assistant principal at Liberty High School. Let me tell you something, and I had the pleasure of working with her daughter. Her daughter was the vice president of the Black Student Union. I met her in the first, I'm telling you, when I met her, after I met her, I knew she was going to be somebody. The next time she came in, her picture was on my wall, and I said, let me know when you sign somewhere. And when she signed to a scholarship, and she got a scholarship, I believe, in gymnastics, and she was well over, she was an easy honor roll student. I put that right on my wall, and I thank you, Dr. Hawley, for all the work you're doing. But Dr. Tamala Hawley has a resume that I can't even start. She's been an administrator at colleges there on the East Coast. She works with the WASC. She does accreditation for schools. Dr. Hawley is one of those people when you meet, you know you are in the presence of somebody great. You know, she reminds you of like one of Claire Huxtable's friends, right, that came from Hillman, right, that just sits down there. She reminds you of somebody like that. You just know that you're in the presence of somebody great. Dr. Hawley is running for Liberty Union High School school board. And just to let you know a little bit about that district, okay, that district has the African-American teachers only comprise 2.6% of the teachers, okay? And so there are not a lot of African-American teachers there, and the African-American administrators last year was 7.4. They represent 7.4% of all of the district administrators, and I think they're down to 1, so cut that in half, so they're about 3%. And so you got probably 1 out of 27 are African American in that district, while the white administrators comprise 74%. Yet white students are though they are the largest ethnic group, they comprise 40% of the student population, but 74% of the administrators. Now, African American students. Okay, we're just talking about Liberty High School Union District. We're talking about Liberty High School. We're talking about freedom and heritage. In those schools, African Americans represent 9.1%. 9.1% of all students in Liberty Union High School District are African American. They have no representation on the board. No representation. None to teach them the cultural competency that they need. No one there in that district. Dr. Hawley, to me is the only choice. And I got a chance to vote, and when I voted for her and no one else. She was the only choice. And so if you live in Brentwood or Oakley, if you are African American, white, Asian, or Hispanic, she is the most educated, she is the most qualified person to be on that board, and we hope that you voted for Dr. Tamala Hawley. All right. All right, staying in the city of Brentwood. Let's stay in B-Wood. And next up we have Miss Stephanie Williams Rogers. Stephanie Williams Rogers. You may not have heard of her, but you will. I'm telling you, we've been on several calls together. That is a very, very, very intelligent, very smart, accomplished woman. And she is a healthcare senior manager, and she is the chair of the city's Park and Recreation Commission, and she is a liaison to the Youth Commission, okay? And so she does a lot of different things, and she's also serves as the president of a local nonprofit called Village Community Resource Center, okay? And this is a center that offers after-school programming, homework help, and parent leadership classes in the city of Brentwood and in the city of Byron, okay? And so this is a woman that is very educated, well overqualified, and they need her in Brentwood City Schools. My kids started off in that school district, and there's not a lot of diversity up top. It's not among the teachers, not among the administrators. I don't even know if they may have one African-American administrator and maybe a handful of teachers. She is needed in Brentwood. You need her. She would be a gift, and she would benefit not only the African-American students, but the Hispanic and white students and the Asian students, and the Native American students and the Pacific Islander students. She would benefit all students. And so Stephanie Williams Rogers, put her picture up there again. Okay, put her picture up there again. Make sure that you know about this sister and the things that she is doing, and I hope that when you went to the polls that you showed her some love. All right, let's stay in the city of Brentwood. Stand in the city of Brentwood. We have another African-American candidate who's running for city council in the city of Brentwood, District 1. District 1, and that is Miss Claudette Stanton. Miss Claudette Stanton, okay? And Claudette and her husband, Johnny, shout out to Johnny. He is a down brother. I got a chance to meet him, and this is a brother that is really looking out for our community. But they've been in Brentwood, the Stantons, they have been in Brentwood since 2003. So they've been in Brentwood 17 years. And their son, David, he was one of the first people, a part of the first graduating class of Heritage High School. Okay, and that's a fun fact to know. Okay, and since 2006, Claudette has served as chair, vice chair, and secretary of the Brentwood Advisory Neighborhood Council, now known as BNC. And so this is a very, very accomplished woman, very, very articulate woman, and she's running for re-election. So she's already a councilwoman, but she is running for re-election. So we hope that if you live in the city of Brentwood, that you voted for Claudette Stanton. And I'm telling you, they are good people, okay? I know these things. And they will do wonders for the city of Brentwood, who needs the diversity. All right. And then also running for Brentwood City Council. And this one is in District 3. So Claudette Stanton was running in District 1, but this sister is running in District 3, Brentwood City Council. Okay? Andrani Golden. You guys know Sister Golden. You guys know Pastor Golden. You guys know Felix Golden. His Presence Church, shout out, all right? Right there across the street from Liberty High School. And they do phenomenal work in the community. Shout out, if you need a church home and you live in Brentwood, go check them out, His Presence, okay? And so Andrani Golden, this sister is just phenomenal. When you read some of the things that she has done, she's been in Brentwood 15 years, and she is a co-owner of a small business. I believe they still own the cleaners, I believe. Golden Excellence Cleaning, black-owned, support your black-owned businesses, okay? That's what we always stress. She's on-call administrative staff for Kaiser, and she is the first lady of His Presence Church. And so, you know, as the first lady, like my wife, they have to stay active. They are always active. So shout out to her. And also She is a mother of five. A mother of five. How do you raise 5 children? I don't know, but she's doing it. 5 children, okay? And it's been her life's dream to serve other, and she's going to help with public safety, transportation, recreation for the kids, parks, community events, cultural events, all of these things. This sister went to Holy Names, has a bachelor in business, a master's in healthcare administration from Cal State East Bay. Very accomplished. Brentwood, I hope when you went to the polls that you voted for Sister Golden, okay? That's a golden opportunity to have someone on that council to give you the diverse perspective that that city needs. The city would be transformed with those 2 sisters. So I hope that they win. I hope. And as soon as we get word, if we get word about how the election is going, we're going to give you live updates. So just stay with us. Just stay with us. All right. And so let's move to the city of Antioch, California. Let's go to the A. Shout out to the A. Everybody from the A. Shout out to the A, the suburb of Richmond and Oakland, Antioch, California, where it goes down. And so let's talk about the city of Antioch, where they were first called Christians. Let's start with Antioch Unified School Board. Let's talk about some of the candidates for school board. In District 1, we had none other than George Young III. George Young III. Shout out. That brother may come by the set shortly. George Young III. Hope you're watching, my brother. This brother is phenomenal, and he is new on the scene. And win, lose, or draw, this brother has run a good race. He has labored, him and his wife and those beautiful young boys. They have sacrificed a lot. Daddy not coming home, always been on calls, doing various things. He has a passion for students in Antioch, and he wants to transform education and give parents and the community back the voice. He wants it to be about you. George Young III is the brother that's running for school board, and so we know that he is running against Alexis Medina, Antonio Hernandez. That's my Hispanic brother. Shout out to you, brother, because I know that's another good brother. But and then of course the incumbent Diane Gibson Gray. But again, we're highlighting the African American candidates. We hope that he did well, and if he is elected, okay, and I know with Antonio Hernandez too, but if either one of them elected, there's going to be a change in Antioch Unified School District. And if there is a change in Antioch, I'm telling you, once the school district is transformed and we get those test scores up, the school's safe, once we have a school board that is not always doing this, but is actually listening to the community, once that happens, I'm telling you, your home value will go up if you live in the city of Antioch. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. So it's very important who you vote for. Don't just vote for president and all the large is who you vote for school board. In District 1, and District 1 is very, very important. You need the 3-2 majority to get anything done on the school board, okay? You need that 3-2 majority to get anything done on the school board. But change is going to come if George Young III is elected. So shout out to George Young III. Shout out to George Young. All right. And then District 3, we're going to probably have a little later on this evening. You guys know her, Crystal Sawyer White, freedom fighter. Crystal Sawyer White. Now, this is a woman I can tell you for the last 4 years has been fighting for our community unapologetically. She goes, she speaks truth to power, and she's instant in season and out of season. In other words, she tells you when she speaks the truth for the oppressed, when people like it and when people don't. And that's what we love about Crystal. Crystal is one of the most loyal women that I know. Shout out to Crystal Sawyer White from Antioch by way of Detroit, Michigan. and she's running for school board. And this is another sister with a master's degree, the most educated member on the school board is Crystal Sawyer White. So don't believe the lies, don't believe any of the hype. She is the only one on the school board with a graduate degree. Hello, Crystal Sawyer White, shout out, sister. And as Paul says, you run a great race, and hopefully she's going to be joining us a little later on. And then next, running in District 3, the other black candidate, shout out to my brother, Dr. Clyde Lewis, all the way from Oaktown. Clyde Lewis. Now, what do you say about this brother? This brother is bilingual. He is a brother that grew up in the streets of Oakland, and he is bilingual. Okay, he has a doctorate degree in education. Okay, I spoke to that brother last week, and I said, every time you open your mouth, you make black people look good. This is a phenomenal brother. He's run for school board before unsuccessfully. This time may be the charm. We will see. And when I talk about it, when I called him the other week and I talked about his platform, he said, you know what, Doc? He says, it's all about the kids. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to do what is best for kids. Whether it's popular or not, if it's best for kids, that's what I'm going to do, and that's the promise I'm going to give you. So shout out to Clyde Lewis, brother, if you're watching. God bless you, brother, and we're praying for you tonight. And we hope one of the two, I think they're running against Ken Turnage, one of the two are elected tonight in District number 3. All right. So we're moving on to Antioch City Council. Antioch City Council. All right, Antioch City Council. Let's talk about who's running in District number 1. You know who she is, the ride or die sister. You know who she is, Tamisha Walker. Tamisha Walker. Tamisha Walker is your voice. Black folks, listen. And even white and brown folk, listen. She is a sister that is for police reform. She's helping inmates who get out of jail, who served their time, okay, because she's over the Safe Return Project. This sister has done some wonderful things. And for the homeless, goodness, what she's doing with the homeless is just wonderful. Feeding them, helping them find housing and jobs, and doing all these things for convicts. And she will help clean up the city. But she is one, if you elect Tamisha Walker, she is the one that she will get there, and she won't forget about you when she sits there. When she gets on the city council, she will be your voice. Listen, Tamisha Walker, I hope you went out and showed that sister some love. Hope you showed her some love. Shout out to Tamisha Walker, another young freedom fighter, married sister, kids, and she's over there with Pastor Jackson. She attends a local black church. And Pastor Jackson is another brother that is another freedom fighter, always unapologetically saying things that need to be said for marginalized communities, feeding the homeless. Shout out to Pastor Jackson. We got to show love to each other. These black pastors in Antioch, we got to come together. We have to come together. I'm telling you, we got to come together. And so shout out to Tamisha Walker, and she is running against Manny Solis and Joy Motts, but we are highlighting black candidates tonight. Shout out to Tamisha Walker. All right, and now we're moving to District 3. So we're Antioch City Council. We're still in the city of Antioch. District 3, Nicole Gardner. Now, this sister is doing some wonderful things when it comes to the homeless. Every time you see her, she's feeding homeless people, helping them find shelter and jobs. And isn't this the work of Jesus Christ? Isn't this the work of Jesus the Christ? That work to take care of the least of these. And if you do these to the least of these, my brothers, Jesus says, you have done it unto me. And so we are, and this is another sister. If you read her bio, she's overcome a lot. And Nicole Gardner would be a great choice for Antioch City Council District 3. But also running is another brother Brother Anton Webster. Anton Webster, Brother Webster, is a military veteran, and anybody that puts his life on the line or her life on the line for the country ought to be commended. And Mr. Webster is pro law enforcement. He is patriotic. He loves his country. He loves his people. And Brother Webster, we wish you success in this campaign. And I just want to say you've made the black community proud just by running. So shout out to those two candidates. All right, we're moving to Antioch City Council District 4. Antioch City Council District 4. We have Miss Sandra White. Miss Sandra White is running, and she is a sister. And again, she is patriotic. She loves the city of Antioch. She loves her community. She loves her people. Miss Sandra White is running for Antioch City Council District 4. So if you were going to the booth, just want to let you know that she's African American, and she was running against another candidate, and you guys know Monica Wilson, because Monica Wilson, I believe, is the first African American woman to be on the city council in the city of Antioch. So she is a trailblazer, and she's been out there advocating for homeless, and she's been out there advocating for the marginalized communities. So shout out to Sister Monica Wilson. I remember a few years ago, we were out there in a park picking up trash on a Saturday, and I took some youth from our church, and there was Monica Wilson out there just picking up trash. No cameras, and a lot of times Monica and people like that will do things like that people don't know about, okay? And so we hope that you show one of those candidates some love. All right, we're moving on, and I know we're running with time, and in the house shortly after we finish this list, we have Crystal Sawyer White. She's going to join us live and in living color. She's going to be here. I believe Dr. Richard Hansey. You guys know Dr. Hansey. He is the premier black social worker of East Contra Costa County. I don't see anyone coming close to what this brother is doing. He's going to join us on the set, and so we're just going to have a great time. All right, and so we're moving along. Running for city clerk. Running for city clerk is an African-American brother name of Dwayne Eubanks. Brother Eubanks, he is one of our elders, and we always in the black community show homage to our elders and respect to our elders for paving the way for us, okay? And so this man is a married man. He is a father. He is a grandfather, and he does a lot of things behind the scene, I believe, with museums, and he works in the city, and he does a lot of social activism. And so, Brother Eubanks, get to know this guy. Reach out to him. Introduce yourself. If you don't know who Dwayne Eubanks is, he loves his country. He loves this city. He's the brother that has a little flat top. You know, he looked kind of with the Steve Harvey, you know, get up, you know, he has that. So, but we're not going to have a family feud, okay? We're not doing that. But show him some love. Show him some love. He is he's a phenomenal man, and we wish him success tonight. And I know he's running against Ellie, but we're highlighting African American candidates tonight, and so we wish him success. Okay, we wish him success. All right, and let's move to the race for mayor. Let's move to the race for mayor of the city of Antioch. And the only African American candidate that is running for mayor is none other than Mr. Lamar Thorpe. Yes, Lamar Thorpe. I hope we woke you up. Brother Lamar Thorpe, what can you say about Lamar? He is running on a platform of police reform. He's running on a platform of bringing new jobs to the city of Antioch through the cannabis industry. He's running on the platform of youth intervention and programs for young people, okay, and safety in the schools. That's what Brother Lamar, and he's trying to house the homeless up the street from us. Okay, he is trying to do, he's doing things there, trying to get the hotels so the homeless have a place to go. You guys know his bio. This man, his bio is like a something you see in the cinema, right? It's something that only directors can write, right? born to a mother that was addicted to drugs, in prison, adopted by a Mexican family, raised in a Hispanic family, is fluent in Spanish, okay? Graduated from high school not knowing how to read or write, goes to George Washington University, changes his life around, and he is currently a councilman for the city of Antioch, and he's running to be your mayor, okay, against the incumbent Sean Wright. But shout out to Gabriel Macanano and Julio Jesse Mendez. These are some good people too. Again, we're highlighting the black candidates, but we hope and pray that you just kind of showed some of these guys some love. All right. So let's move on. County supervisor, the county supervisor for District 5. You already know who he is. He's been around since most of you millennials been born. He's been in office, okay? You guys know Federal Glover. He is the premier name, okay? Shout out to Federal Glover. Shout out to our elders. God bless you, my brother. I hope that your health is well, that you're doing well. We wish you success. Tonight, he is the first African-American to serve on the Board of Supervisors, and he is running to eliminate racial bias in our communities, okay? He's running against Gus Kramer. We wish you success tonight in your endeavors. Give it up for Federal Glover. Federal Glover, put his picture up there again, Federal Glover, and he looks good for his age, because they say black don't crack and beige don't age. All right. All right, and we're moving along. LMC, HD, LMC, Lawrence McDonald's College, HD, Board Director, Sister Denisha Marsh. She's running, Denisha Marsh, okay? She grew up in Pittsburgh, attended Pittsburgh Public Schools. That means she graduated from Pittsburgh High School. Shout out to the Pirates. Okay, this woman's story is phenomenal. If you read it, I don't have time to go through all of it, but to be born with a hole in your heart, to have all these heart surgeries as a young person and still continue this fight of equity is phenomenal. She gives back to her community. She's actively engaged in healthcare advocacy with positive results. She's done just a number of things. She's a healthcare consultant. Right now, Denisha Marsh, we communicated today. We hope that when you went to the polls that you showed Denisha Marsh some love. Shout out to that sister. We're almost done. Also running for Contra Costa Water District 4 is Sister Deborah Vincent. I don't know if she joining us tonight. Okay, I think she's going to join us tonight. You guys know, and make sure you put some respect on this woman named Deborah Vinson. That's what it is. Deborah Vinson is a former Antioch Unified School District school board member and an advocate for marginalized communities. This is another sister with a master's degree, and so we want to show love to all of our sisters who are accomplishing things academically. But she is running for Contra Costa County Water District 4. Right, bruh man from the four, District 4. So we hope that you showed her some love when you went to the polls. She's going to be here shortly, and she can tell more about her experience as a black woman in Antioch Unified School District School Board. All right, also moving on to the Contra Costa County Board of Education, Dr. Fatima Allen. Put her picture on the screen. Dr. Fatima Allen. Fatima Allen. Now, she is running for re-election. Read her bio. Just Google her. I mean, this sister is phenomenal. She is a force to be reckoned with. She is the co-chair of the LCAP Video Committee. That means she is advocating for community, marginalized community, black folks. She's looking out for us, so we have to make sure that we look out for her. This sister has a PhD in science from UC Berkeley. You know she is no joke. She is running for re-election, and so we hope that when you went to the polls that you showed some love to Dr. Fatima Allen. Fatima Allen. Much love to you, sister. Okay, and so let's do this. We're going to, it's 7:05. Let's stop here. We're not going to be able to get to some of the measures, but these are the black candidates that are running. But we have a guest in the audience that we could just sit down and talk about mental health in the black community. And if he wants to talk about he's not with the paper, so he can give his opinion on the candidates. And let me tell you something. Dr. Richard Hansey is the premier black social worker in East County. Okay, one of the smartest, intelligent men that I know, and he has come by the set to talk a little bit about his practice, and he can feel free to talk about some of the candidates. Come on up, Dr. Hansey, and I know Dr. Rashid is watching. All right, show some love, Dr. Hansey. Yeah. Turn on the mic, my brother. All right, it is good. Oh, man, Dr. Richard Hansey. How you doing? Good. Yes, sir. So go ahead and turn on that mic, and just there's a button on the side. Just hold it down for a while, and then speak right into that mic so that people at home can hear you. Dr. Hansey, talk a little bit about what you do in the city of Antioch.
Well, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I don't know where I should be looking at.
Camera's right up there, my brother.
Okay.
Right there.
All
right above the TV, right there.
I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. So I have my own private practice.
And what is it called?
My Faith Community and Counseling Services. So it is faith-based, but I do work with a lot of people that don't have any faith affiliation or people with other faith backgrounds. I also, for a while, a lot of people probably recognize me from Kaiser ED. I was the mental health person there doing psych assessments in Kaiser ED and Contra Costa County Emergency Room for many years. So a lot of people will see me in the street. So I'm probably not the person people want to see in the street. They see me and look the other way.
Yeah.
Like, because they catch me at their worst moments. But, you know, it was humbling because I got to work with a lot of families that, you know, experienced death, kids passing away of car accidents.
Yes, sir.
And when we didn't have a chaplain there, I would come in and sit and talk with some of the people. So I got to work with people with some amazing experiences, some horrifying experiences. Mm-hmm. So I was glad I was just able to be there to support.
All right. Let's talk about African Americans in East County. What are some of the main issues? African Americans in East County. I don't know. He said, where do I start?
Well,
from a mental health, a faith perspective.
From a mental health perspective, we need more providers.
Yes, sir.
All right. We absolutely need more providers.
Why is it important for African Americans to have more providers that look like them? What's the advantage?
Well, it's a learning curve. Unfortunately, from my experience, working in the county and working with different people of color, and I'm speaking with working with other clinicians, often on paperwork, I would see African Americans listed as what they call high EE, which means high emotional expression.
Okay.
Right? So I'm pretty sure what people can take from that, right? So a lot of people weren't comfortable working with, you know, when we talk and we're going through issues, we talk with our hands. We can be, our voices raised. We use strong terms and we use words that some people who aren't familiar with that type of aggressive demeanor can be intimidated by. That's one thing.
Okay.
The other thing is just don't get me wrong, there's a lot of qualified non-African American providers that can serve and do a really good job with working with African American clients, but there's always a learning curve, and I think with clinicians of color, the level of comfort is more immediate, the rapport is more instant, and so it puts people at ease quicker, all right? So they can so I don't have to teach you about me, I don't have to teach you about my culture and my community. We can just get right into the work that needs to be done, what I'm here for.
All right. All right, so you want to talk politics in there? Anybody you endorse? Anybody you think gonna win? If you don't want to, that's fine. We're live.
You know, me and my wife, we went over our ballot extensively, and so we really. This is probably the hardest I've ever worked on the propositions.
Okay.
Right, and you know, I really don't have a horse in the race for mayor,
Okay.
right, so to speak. I think both candidates are very well qualified, but obviously, Lamar. I'm military, so and Lamar is former military,
Okay.
and so I know the structure and what's been instilled in him, and I know he has a level of commitment and service now to the African American community, which is always a powerful thing. So I heard it's going to be a close race. I was looking; it's looking close.
Yes, it is.
So I pray the best man win,
All right.
and I pray that whoever does win come to rely on their religious leaders in the community like yourself
Yeah.
for guidance.
Amen.
All right.
Amen. Amen. All right. Anything city council? Nothing school board? Nothing?
I think we looking at the city council. I want to shout out Sandra White.
Okay.
Sandra White is a classmate of mine. I've never seen a more harder working person. Y'all out there, vote for Sandra. All right, I'm gonna endorse. She has my full endorsement. Me and Sandra both served on the Antioch Police Commission. She actually encouraged me to be on the Antioch Police Commission. I think that's a commission that more African American people need to serve on. All people of color, but especially African American people, because what it'll do is, if we represented in these places,
Yes, sir.
right, it lets people see us, right, in a different way, and caring about, because the expectation is, a lot of people are hearing like, oh, all African American people want to get rid of the police. We're not supportive of the police. That's not necessarily true. It's just a lot of people that have bad experiences with the police, and so. And when we can work with the police closely and have the police see us in a different way in the community, and then have the police call you like, hey, I had this experience with somebody, and give me feedback, and to have somebody there on the commission that they can go to and reference and talk to, I think that's powerful.
Yeah.
And Sandra has been that person. She has been that person trying to bridge the gap between the Antioch Police Department and the African American community, whenever she was called upon, and with the business people in the community. And
That's right.
so I think that's huge, because if you seen with working with the police, they may see you as the police, and they might not be as receptive. But she's walked that line. Very, like I said, very intelligent. The sister has. Man, she's worked with some of the most powerful organizations business-wise in the Bay Area. And she has a master's in psychology. So
Shout out to
she
that
dope.
sister.
She dope.
All right. All right. Any propositions you want to discuss?
You know what? I want to get your opinion on the no bail proposition. Right? The no money bail proposition. Because initially, it sounded good, and then I seen like the NAACP and everybody was against it.
I will say no comment for now. It looks good. It looks good. I think on the surface it does look good, because it allows people that do not have the money to get bail, and it doesn't seem like it favors people from a higher socioeconomic background. But then on the flip side, I believe you have some of those algorithms that may not favor African American inmates and stuff like that. So, then again, like I say, we did a show last week, and we went over all the propositions with shout out to Sister Victoria Adams, the East County president of the NAACP. We went over the propositions, and she went with of course, the NAACP and their stance on it. But, however, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this gently. We black folks, we just can't vote as sheep. You have to do your own research, and so we love the NAACP and all of the work that they have been doing in the community. But you have to go ahead, black people, and learn to think and do your own research about every single proposition. Now, on the East County North Star website, we do have on our front page, if you go down and scroll down where it says NAACP there and click right there by the logo. There is the NAACP stance on all of them. And people were calling me this week and texting me, I need that, I need that. I said, that's up there as a guide to see what they're doing. But you have to do your own research. You have to do your own research.
Absolutely.
Okay? You know, you have to do your own research.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So, let me get your take on the presidency, and then I'm going to bring up Crystal Sawyer White. So, who do you think is going to win? Who's going to pull it out tonight? Dr. Richard Hansey, come on. The money's on the line. You, and not who you support and who you believe is going to win.
Well, first, honestly, I've been playing. Look, I'm gonna do what they've been doing the whole debate season.
Oh, you gonna tap dance around it like Gregory Hines?
Yeah. No, I think the numbers is looking at it before I left. It looked like Biden was doing very, very well. So as of right now, it looks like Biden has a strong lead, and so it looks like he may pull it out. But for me personally, I've been really watching the Senate, right? One of the things that crippled Barack's presidency is that we had a red Senate the whole time, right? So he wasn't able to push things through. So the Senate races are starting to come in now too. So, you know, if you can go blue White House and blue Senate, then we actually can see some real change. But if we keep a red Senate and a blue White House,
the gridlock,
you know, for another 4 years. So it doesn't really matter who's president. So at that point.
That's true.
But Biden is looking strong, and
so you would put your money on Biden on that horse.
Right now, it looks like I'm going with the numbers.
Very smart man. Very smart man. Right. Well, if there's nothing else, thank you so much, Dr. Hansey, for joining us, my brother.
Thank you for asking me to come out, man.
Oh, yeah, of course, man. Look. This is the man you got to go by if you need therapy, faith-based. You take Medi-Cal.
I take Medi-Cal. I take Medi-Cal in every major insurance, Blue Cross, United Healthcare. I'm on almost literally every single insurance panel. And what most importantly, a lot of people don't take advantage of with everything that's going on now. Every company in the Bay Area that's a good company has what's called an Employee Assistance Program, EAP. EAP provides free legal advice, and it provides free mental health sessions. They usually range, depending on how good the EAP plan is, 3 to 15 free sessions. You can just contact your HR and say, hey, I need to talk to someone. They're going to give you a name, and I guarantee you my name is on the list of all the major EAPs. If it's not on the list and you really want to come see me, just call me, and all the insurance company has something that's called a single case agreement, where it says he's not active in our network, but he's agreed to see you under our rates. So, but you know, to be honest, with everything that's going on, I probably get like 40 to 50 phone calls a day. That's why I need help. So if there's black therapists out there who really want to make a difference in the career field,
I think you got a brother up in the booth that's a MFT intern up there.
Okay, I see him. I see him up there waving. No, the need for sound-minded, strong, faith-based clinicians is great right now, and you know, and like I tell people, it pays pretty well as too, so you can live pretty good.
And where's your office located?
We're right here off of 3501 Lone Tree Way in Antioch. So
beautiful facility.
And if you guys, you know, if I can't help you, I try to return every call and every message to give you feedback. And because a lot of the people I talk to, they don't necessarily come in, but I point them in the right direction. All right. Because a lot of them need other things as well.
Amen. All right. Thank you so much. One more time, give it up for Dr. Richard Hansey.
All right, you guys.
Dr. Richard Hansey. God bless you, my brother. Thank you so much. All right. Now coming to the stage, you guys know her. She is running. Oh, don't worry about that. We got that taken care of. Thank you. Coming to the stage is our local freedom fighter. She's running for Antioch School Board re-election. Get her for Crystal Sawyer White. Crystal Sawyer White, ladies and gentlemen. She is here with us. She is in the house. Watch your mouth. All right. Thank you. Yes.
So
Yeah.
happy. Thank you for inviting me.
All
Dr.
right.
Francis.
How you feeling?
Oh, I'm
You,
nervous wreck.
yeah. She is on the ballot, and I believe when did polls close?
At 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So
Yes.
if you have not voted, you better run out there and show this sister some love. You better show this sister some love because she is going to fight for your children. And let me tell you something. She has fought not just for black, but she fought for brown, white, everybody. Because I'm telling you right now, racism doesn't just hurt black people. It hurts white people. It's harmful. It's harmful. What this woman is doing is changing the narrative. You know, a bad narrative is what got George Floyd killed because people believed the narrative about him before they even knew him. The wrong narrative is what got Emmett Till killed. The wrong narrative. So what this woman is doing is changing the narrative and how we are seen. Okay? Thank you so much for joining us. All right. I know you are nervous, but you know what? God, there's a God in heaven, and he already knows the outcome. And so we're going to rest in what he has done. And so we're thankful to the God of heaven that you can and join us and talk about some of the things that you're running for. So talk to us about some of the things you're running for, what's on your mind. Talk to us. Floor is yours.
Yes, well, I feel I'm comfortable here. It's just the outcome I'm a little nervous about. So, yes, since the pandemic, I just felt that, you know, public education, equity, health, and safety are paramount. And I just saw, like, within just before the shutdown, when Mayor London Breed announced she took the liberty as mayor to shut down San Francisco Unified School District. And so I felt that it was time to speak up to the superintendent, Stephanie Anello, and I felt that this was the time to shut down the schools as well, based on what Mayor Breed stated. And there's been just a disconnect with especially the African-American students in regards to addressing ethnic studies. I happened to go through my file when I was newly elected, and that was one of the conferences that I wanted to attend, and I was denied. And so we want to address, if I'm elected, re-elected, to address ethnic studies as part of
So
the...
you want to bring ethnic studies here to Antioch Unified School District?
Yes.
As a requirement?
As a requirement.
What?
Yes.
So you mean our history will be required of every student to know about a history other than European history?
Yes, so right now I'm researching other districts. San Francisco Unified, they just passed the Black Studies resolution, which that means that every subject will require some type of background as far as language arts, not just history, black study. You know, we have African American studies or history Heritage Month just in February. It should be year round.
Should be year round.
Yes.
So talk about some of your struggles. Talk about some of your struggles as an African American on the Antioch Unified School Board. And you've gone through a lot the last 4 years.
Yes.
I'm surprised you're still smiling.
Yes. Well, the challenge is I just think, well, I'm the first African American is running for re-election. The previous school board members, one was appointed, which was Mayor Harper. He was not elected. And it's just, they're not, the incumbents weren't open to any of my issues on my platform. So, for instance, you know, hiring teachers of color, especially African American teachers, because students want to see someone that looks like them, but also who cares. So I also established a Black Parent Advisory Board just after I attended one of your events here at Martin Luther King event to address parents. I know parents were desperately seeking advice about these board meetings. They didn't know anything about the board bylaws. And then we had the shooting of Jonathan Parker, and then that's when safety was an issue. So if I'm reelected, we need to address the protocols and board bylaws. They need to be revised to address safety and distance learning, because distance learning is a challenge right now.
All Right. And so we talk about school safety. We're talking about ethnic studies. Okay. We're talking about some of the major issues for especially African American students in the district. So African American students, if you didn't know, make about roughly about 23 to 24% comprised, of the district. Yet we understand that they are suspended 4 times, at least 4 times as many as their white counterparts. So they're 4 times as likely to be suspended from school. What can the school board do? What can the district do? What should they do differently?
Well, I think, once again, the hiring practices, I am fully aware that there have been quite a few teachers or administrators who have been demoted, and the students are aware. So we need some type of a tracking mechanism of these suspensions. Before I was elected, there was at least 5,000 suspensions in one particular board meeting, and it was not addressed. We need more social workers to address these mental health issues that students of color are challenging. And also, I think if we can pass this so-called board bylaw or resolution, the field trips could be incorporated into the lesson plans. If you're able to get out of your own comfort zone of Antioch and travel to a museum for a field trip and incorporate that into the curriculum, that's something I have a master's degree in, is curriculum and instructional strategies. The students are more compelled to stay in the classroom and not leave the classroom.
Oh, so we're talking about higher rigor in the classroom, more cultural competency from the teachers, more teachers instructors that mirror the ethnicity of the students,
Yes.
because it's clear that I believe Antioch Unified is only 12% white, and so it's clearly a minority, a quote-unquote minority district. So if we have that and we have ethnic studies, it is good for recruitment and retention.
Yes.
Of quality teachers of color.
Yes, and professional development. So that would be for the entire staff as well as administrators and teachers. Because basically in San Francisco Unified, the teachers, their homeworks address George Floyd.
Yes.
They have Raising in the Sun as a English language arts plan, lesson plan. And then recently they just addressed Breonna Taylor as an art project. So it has to incorporate into all subjects, not just,
Wouldn't that be a blessing to have that in Antioch Unified?
Yes, it would.
So I know that you and Ellie have been fighting.
Yes, we have.
Fighting like crazy the last several years. And I know you started off with Miss Deborah Vinson at first, and you've never really had that 3-2 majority.
We need it.
So your dream team today, who wins on this Antioch Unified School District? So tomorrow, who's on that board? If you had your say, who's elected?
Well, really, number one, Diane has to go, for sure. And that would be the 3-2 vote, for sure.
She said that's it. So
That's it, yes. 'Cause she's not open to new ideas or any suggestions.
All right, so
I don't want to designate to.
Okay, so as long as we
so,
so we had that,
Yes.
then you would have the 3-2 majority.
Yes.
And that would allow the school board to do the things necessary, okay, to change the face of the district, to make it about kids, make it about marginalized communities, right? This is Antioch 2020. This is not Antioch 1985, 1990. We have to turn the page, right? We have to get away from the nepotism. We have to get away from the good old boys network. We have to do that. This is Antioch in 2020, okay? So we see in Pittsburgh, they have a school board that looks like the kids, right? They understand what it feels like to be the other. They get it, and they are connected to the community, right? If we have that, then remember the school board, she is Stephanie Anello's boss, okay? They tell the superintendent. It should not be the other way around, where you have board members that rubber stamp what the district, the superintendent wants. They need to know that, because we elect them. Okay, these are public schools. They get paid on your tax dollars, and so the schools must belong to the community. We need to have a say, and we know the majority of the community. We know that the majority of Antioch wants the schools to change, and that's not only black, that's white, that's Hispanic, because Antioch Unified, since you've been there, has had black flight, white flight, brown flight. Everybody's trying to leave, but we need to do something at the top. Now, let me say this before you continue. When the Clippers, they lost in the playoffs, and they were supposed to go to the conference championship, they were supposed to go to the NBA finals. Okay, the owner of the Clippers, he had a decision to make. He says, I love some Doc Rivers, but he had a decision to make. You blew a 3-1 lead, and you should have had your guys ready. They didn't get rid of Paul George. They didn't get rid of Kawhi Leonard. They got rid of the coach. So why in the world, every single year, we have the same outcomes at Antioch Unified School District? Do we blame the kids? Do we blame the parents? We blame everybody, but we never look at who is making the decisions. We never look at the brass down. We never look at that. We always blame the victims, okay? They have their degrees. We're talking about people that need an education that is revolutionized, a 21st century education that is culturally competent. They're doing some of the things you talked about, that have projects where they're focusing on equity, and they're taking current events and turning them into a project-based learning that will help all students learn, okay? Anything else you want to cover?
Yes, and also my first year I conveyed at the dais to work with the city. We should have YMCAs here. We should have Boys and Girls Club. So I had a meet and greet with Monica Wilson, and we're going to work together. We're reelected to emphasize as far as recreational programs to work with the city, and that's fine. The previous person that was here for Sandra White to address working with the police, but the problem is the contract with the SRO defunding the police is not defunding the police.
Yes.
It's allocating funds for addressing mental health. Instead of calling 911 for the police, you'll have a policeman come to, or a woman come to your home with a mental health specialist. And that's the challenges. I think that African American students are afraid of the police, because when my daughter was there in 2007, the probation officer was on Deer Valley campus, and that was not welcoming. So that's the next thing on my agenda. I want to work with the city to address
We need mental health
youth
professionals.
programs, professionals with the SRO contract that was approved.
That would be wonderful, because we see there was an African-American man that got shot last week, right? And he was suffering from mental health, and the police just went ahead and shot him and killed him, okay? And police officers are not mental health professionals. But the thing is, we need to attach that so that the police, and we thank God for those that put their lives on the line and do what they do. But however, we know the attitude with the African American community in general in law enforcement, and so they need to be trained. They need to have mental health professionals there with them, and to help the police officers who are trying to do their job. Anything else you want to cover?
Just lastly, shout out to the teachers at AUSD that need the support of new leadership and livable wages.
Livable wages.
That's right, in Antioch. But thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. You guys, the polls will close in about 25 minutes. You know who you need to go vote for. She's sitting right here, freedom fighter. She is unapologetic, and see what you see is what you get with her. Whatever she says, she doesn't go around different places and say this on one side or say this on another side. She's not the queen of neutrality. She has picked a side, okay? Personality is one thing. Platform. What is the platform? She told you. She was clear. When you vote for Crystal Sawyer White, you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to do. And she does things that are not popular, because she could easily switch course, get paid, do a lot of things, but she chose to go ahead and fight for our kids. Thank you so much, Crystal
Thank you.
Sawyer-White.
Have a good evening.
All right. Next up, we have Antioch Unified School District School Board candidate, Mr. George Young, District 1. Come on. George Young, the third. So the trilogy is always the best. The trilogy. George Young, the third, is here with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, look, I got to respect any man by the name of George. It's my daddy's name. I got a brother named George the third.
Appreciate having me here.
Hey, thank you so much for coming out, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
All right.
I'm feeling good.
All right. Talk about the campaign process. What have you gone through in the last several months? How?
A lot of stress. But
What did you learn?
I've learned a lot. I've learned that people are a lot more open than you think if you're willing to take the time and just talk to them.
Okay.
Asking questions will get you answers.
Yes, sir.
Don't just assume. Get out there and ask. And treat people like people, and you'll get respect.
All right. All right. What have you learned? Have you learned anything new about District 1 in the city of Antioch? Because you've been out there with a lot of people. I had church members that come and say, I met this guy, George White. He was shaking hands outside of a grocery store and handing out flyers.
Shaking hands and kissing babies. No, but seriously, what I learned about the community and the area, this Area 1, is there's a lot of good people there, a lot of people who've been left out. They feel neglected, they feel unheard. A lot of things has passed them by, and
Yes.
they're looking just to be part of the community again and be joined. Everything's just kind of moving past them.
About 20 minutes before the polls close, somebody is looking at the choices for Antioch Unified School District School Board Member District 1, and they're looking between the candidates. How do you compare, contrast yourself with a candidate like Diane Gibson Gray? What would you do differently? Why would I vote for George Young III?
New times need fresh blood and new ideas. Diane's done whatever she's done over the last few years. It's time for something different. That's not working. It's something new. I spent my entire military career working with different school boards across the world, dealing with individuals, dealing with government, dealing with putting all those pieces together. So in my job, we work with, civil military operations involves taking the civilian portion away from the battlefield. So dealing with dislocated civilians, we have that here with our homeless. Dealing with, we have a large community of cool kids who are actually homeless. Then dealing with the food portion of it. How do you provide resources to get them food? How do you provide resources to find them housing? The things that they need.
Yes, sir.
That's what I do for a living. So I can bring that to the board, give them new ideas, and then also budgets. I spent 10 years working on military contracts,
Okay.
dealing with things across the countries, all different worlds. So having the opportunity and having the knowledge to be able to deal with different budgets, I managed $27 million in 1 year in Afghanistan alone. So I have that experience as well.
So fiscal responsibility.
Yes.
You would bring a change. What do you feel on school choice?
I think parents should have a choice in where their kids go. Every child is unique, and they need unique things to flourish. If that means one child needs to go to a charter school because their ADHD needs that special attention, then I'm all for that. If another child needs to go to a Montessori school because they have anxiety and the freer classroom space works for them, then I'm all for that. Whatever it takes.
Whatever works for the kid.
Whatever it needs for the kids to prosper.
So you represent, you believe, in your opinion, the new era. A new era.
In an ideal situation, it wouldn't need to be different schools. All the same resources would be in one school. Unfortunately, that's not the case now. I'd like to work toward days when that would be. I've heard from a lot of the teachers in Antioch Unified School District and other school districts that they feel cheated because they're losing out money to the charter schools and other schools. That's questionable because a lot of the programs that are being funded through the charter schools are programs that the public schools wouldn't have been able to handle anyway.
Got you.
So you're already at 30, 40 kids per classroom. wouldn't you be grateful to have something taken off your plate so that you can actually focus on the students
On the
that you have there?
students that you have, yeah.
So one thing about charter schools is that their teachers are trained in special education, almost every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they are better equipped to handle those huge differences in classrooms as far as education goes. You have a student who's 2 grades ahead, 2 grades behind. How do you teach the entire class and keep them up to date?
True.
So,
And so you would advocate for that?
yeah, absolutely. And also giving public school teachers that same training so that they can handle it in their own classrooms as well.
All right. Look, I think the people, and you got a chance to meet a lot of people
Yes.
that you didn't know, right, in the last several months. Even when we first met, you've met, because a lot of people are saying your name, George Young III, George Young, and your beautiful family. The pictures are all over this community, and everybody wants to know more about you, and they're contacting you because you're a star definitely on the rise. So win, lose, or draw, you know you ran the best race you could. There's about 20 minutes left. They should vote for you because you will do.
Put your kids first.
That's
Our
it.
kids aren't dollar signs. They're people. They're young adults, young humans. They need the respect. They need someone looking out for them. They need someone who's going to apply their needs, what needs to happen, and not just looking for extra money they can put in their own pockets.
That's it. He will put your students first. How's the missus doing?
She's doing well.
The boys?
Great.
The boys are all right?
Yeah. Little
At
struggles
home?
with distance learning, but we're handling it.
All right. Any prediction for the presidential election?
Ooh.
Who do you think is going to pull it out?
I don't know.
If you had to put money on one, not to say who you support, who do you think is going to win?
I'd probably say that Trump might pull it out again.
You think Trump is going to come from behind?
I think so.
All
On
right.
my way in, I can see that he's taking a little bit of the lead, so hopefully that switches back around, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. So Trump another 4 years to make America great again.
It'll make America something again.
Thank you so much for joining us,
Yeah, thank you for
Mr.
having
Young, and we wish you success tonight. Thank you. Give it up for George Young. George Young,
Thank you.
Antioch Unified School District, candidate district number 1. Folks, we have just a few more minutes. Just a few more minutes. And then you got to go back to Don Lemon at 8 o'clock. Is Roland Martin still on the air? We got to find where Roland Martin is. Folks, there's a lot at stake. We had candidates come. We had community members come through. I don't know if we may have Mr. Thorpe. Is Thorpe coming by? He may stop by. Don't know. Okay, and we may still have Deborah Vincent. So hopefully they'll come in the next few minutes. But there are a lot of issues. A lot of issues right there. A lot of issues. It's very important. It's very important that you vote. Okay? That you vote. Now, I want to say this, though. Black folks, listen to me. Listen. Give me a close-up. Listen. Voting is important. It's an important thing, but it's not the only thing. It's not the only thing. A lot of times, black folks, you know what we want? We want to be able to start our revolution. We want to be able to activate our rights and come up in this country without sacrificing a dollar. We have 1.2 trillion people, 40 million black people that are in this country. We are the richest people of African descent on the face of the planet. Okay? So we have to learn to invest in ourselves. Okay? You can go and you can vote. That is great. That's a wonderful thing because you need a political agenda, but it has to be undergirded by an economic agenda. It has to be, right? So we talked about all of the black candidates. We gave a lot of their bios, and I believe all of them, most of them are just wonderful people, okay? But again, the question you have to ask yourself is what are they specifically going to do for the black community? It's not enough just to be black. Those days are over with. We celebrated in 2008. We have a black president, but we have to be able to hold the black politicians accountable, okay? And you only do that if you buy your candidates. And what I mean by that is this. You have to put money on their campaign. It's more than just a vote. Vote is great, but it has to be undergirded with some money. So you have to have black organizations, black churches, black institutions come together, pull your resources together, create an agenda, go to candidates like Crystal Sawyer White and say, this is our agenda. If you want our support, if you want our dollar, you have to adhere to our agenda. That is politics. Quid pro quo. It's something for something. You cannot just go and vote for them and think that they're going to listen to you all the time. This is how black folks get played. Okay? This is why black folks for years have been the cheap date of the Democratic Party. Okay? This is why we always get used, or the Republican Party, or the Independent Party. Why? Is because we don't buy our candidates. We have to do it. Okay? So this is what black folks have to do. Learn to pull our resources together. So voting is a very important thing. Just don't make it the only thing. All right? You got to invest in your schools. If it's not working in the public schools, guess what? Instead of buying all them Christmas gifts this year, and you shouldn't be standing in line with all that COVID, buying, $5,000 of Christmas gifts. You know what you could do? You could take that money and buy a black private school education for your kids. Go ahead and make sure your kids get the best education. Pull them out somewhere. Okay? Do something else. Invest your money in the future. Invest in your kids. They don't need the latest Jordans. They don't need all of that. They'll run through that stuff. Okay? Invest here. Invest in their brains. Okay? And even if you don't have children, you got grandchildren, invest in education. Okay? And so we're going to be hopefully getting some updates. And as soon as we get updates, we'll let you know. In the meantime, in between time, we'll talk about some of our sponsors and some of the people that we are sponsoring here. And now we're just going to focus on some of the businesses in the city of Antioch. Shout out to K&K Beauty Supply. Okay? Go to K&K Beauty Supply, black-owned beauty supply. Okay? You keep going to Sally's. I know you want to go to Sally's. You sit up and stand in line, and they ask you, do you have a Sally's card? Okay? Every single time, same question. Okay? But when you want to get your Blue Magic, when you want to get your tracks, when you want to go ahead and get your Just For Me kit, you know where to go. Go to K&K Beauty Supply. Okay, 5019 Long Tree Way, right over there by Popeyes. You know where it is. Make sure you give that sister a call and go in there and support your own business. Okay, if you're hungry, go to Freddie B's Barbecue. You know it's over there off 10th Street where the old golf course used to be. Freddie B's Barbecue. 1803 West 10th Street, Freddie B's Barbecue. They have some of the best barbecue in town. Tell them Dr. Francis sent you, and it's off the hook when you got people waiting around the corner and you need no teeth to eat his beef. No teeth to eat his beef. That's how soft the meat is. Just some good meats. Amen and amen again. Shout out to Freddie B. Yes, Freddie B. If you want to get a haircut, go to International Barbershop. My brother Gerald Swatter. Gerald is one of the nicest guys you're going to meet, and Gerald is a musician. You know, he plays with the Touch of Velvet band. And Gerald is always smiling, always has a smile on his face. Okay, always has a positive word. Go get your hair cut. Make sure, because that brother has to pay his bills. Okay? Make sure that you hit up International Barbershop. And it's also a salon for the ladies as well. And that is at 4629 Golf Course Road. These are some of the people that sponsor this program. And then also that we are sponsoring. But you have plenty of places to go. Way to Life Food Health Market, 426 East 10th Street. Make sure you hit them up. Dad's Barbecue, another black-owned, 5887 Long Tree Way. Dad's Barbecue. I don't know if they're open, but if they are, make sure that you mess with Dad's Barbecue. Also, go to T's Southern Kitchen. I was there the other night. that fish was off the hook. That red snapper was woo, it was good. I needed some tartar sauce with that. It was good, and the line was around the corner, and the restaurants across the street was looking at the black-owned business saying, how do they have people from every racial background going to eat that good Southern good food? Shout out to T's. Shout out to T's Southern Kitchen, located on 211 G Street. 211 G Street. Make sure you hit them up. And you know I got to send a shout out to Pastor Smith over there at Solid Rock, right around the corner, 422 West 2nd Street. Make sure that you can go. And his wife is one of the best cooks in the city. They are hooking food up. They have a huge, they're really, really, really good. Okay? If you need carpet cleaning, make sure that you hit up Mr. Brown, MrBrownCarpetsCleaning.com, MrBrownCarpetsCleaning.com. If you have a stain on that carpet, okay, stop trying to go to Lowe's and do it yourself. You know you ain't gonna get that stain out. Hit up Mr. Brown and show that brother some love, okay? And you can look him up at MrBrownCarpetsCleaning.com, okay? So we have all kind of black-owned businesses here. Southern Express Soul Food, Rima Collections right there downtown Antioch. Show them some love. Fire Spice. This is that food truck and catering is off the hook. There's some good food. Make sure you hit them up, called Fire Spice. If you need detailing in your car, make sure you hit up Extreme Supreme Detail Service. This brother Xavier, who is the owner of Extreme Supreme Detail Service, he is licensed, and he will come to your home and he will make your car look brand new. These are just some of the people that we want you to go ahead and support. And there are all kind of black-owned businesses. I didn't get a chance to get them all, and so don't get at me. But if you want to, go ahead and put a black-owned business in Pittsburgh and Brentwood and Oakley and Discovery Bay. If you are black-owned, go ahead and put them in the chat. Send some shots out to them. Make sure that we support our own. And if we want to bring down black unemployment, we start our own Black Wall Street here locally in East County. And so shout out to Damon Owens, who is doing Pastor Damon Owens at Genesis Church is doing some fantastic work around getting the businesses together. So shout out Damon Owens and his wife. And so we thank you guys for listening. Let me just say this, and I'll give my take. And if Mr. Thorpe doesn't show up, then we would just wish him success. About the mayor's race in the city of Antioch, I have to say it was a long race. It was a highly contested race. Okay? Sean Wright is a good person. Lamar Thorpe, to me, is I like him too. I don't have anything against. I don't have any horse in the race. Okay, I'm telling you this, and you only got about 7 more minutes to vote. That you should vote for the one that you believe in. This is, again, a black channel that will do the most for the black community. Who would do the most? Vote your interests. Vote your interests. Vote who has the platform that you feel that will be the best for the black community. You know who that person is. So we want you to go ahead and support that individual. I was going to let Mr. Thorpe go ahead and give his take on everything. Let me give you my take on the presidential race. So as you guys know, I know Biden is currently winning, and you knew that he would. Most Democrats are voting by mail. We're going to see President Trump. I believe he's going to cut in on that lead. Here's my prediction for the presidential race in 2020. I believe that we're going to have a new president-elect by tomorrow, and his name is going to be Joseph Biden from the state of Delaware. And I'm going to tell you why. I believe that the coronavirus and the mishandling of the coronavirus by our current president put him in a position where he's not going to be able to get the votes that he needs. I think the mishandling of the coronavirus and not mandating something nationally to save over 200,000 people who have died from this virus, and you guys know that African Americans are 2 times as likely to die of the virus than that of white people. His mishandling of that is going to cost him this election. I believe that Mr. Trump made a mistake by giving red meat to his base. Mr. Trump, his handlers could not control him, especially during the first debate. He was still doing the racial epithets and all of this divisive language and all of these things, not denouncing white supremacy. His handlers should have gone to him beforehand and told him to be more presidential, told him to reach out to the middle, He did not do that. He gave red meat to the base, okay? And those people were going to vote for him regardless. And as a result, I think it's going to cost him this year's election. And I believe you're going to have the first African-American female vice president. The first African-American vice president will be, I believe, Kamala Harris, born and raised in the city of Oakland, California. And so that's what I believe is going to happen. I don't know who is, you guys are probably following the election more than me, because I've been talking to you for the last several hours, but I believe that Mr. Biden is going to, and I don't think it's going to be a landslide. I think he's going to narrowly pull it off after they count all of the votes. And I believe the state to watch is the state of Pennsylvania. I believe Pennsylvania. I don't know why I'm thinking about that, but that state, I believe, is going to decide the next president. And I think Joe Biden is going to narrowly get Pennsylvania. I think Ohio is going to go to the president. I believe Florida will eventually go to the president of the United States. But I believe that Joe Biden will win. Oh, okay. We were going to sign off, but we have another guest. Ms. Deborah Vinson? All right. Come on. Yes, Deborah Vinson. Deborah Vinson, and we're still live on the air. We thank you. Deborah Vinson is in the house. She is here, and the microphone is wiped off. Let's make sure we get Miss Deborah Vinson up. She is running for Contra Costa Water District 4. Miss Deborah Vinson is here. So good to see you. All right. So you can take off the mask. It's clean, everything, so they can see your face and know. And the polls are closing in 2 minutes. So if you are voting, she's right here. Deborah Vinson, go ahead. Just go ahead and mark it. You got 2 more minutes. And if you got in line before 8 o'clock, you can still vote. Deborah Vinson, she is running for Contra Costa Water District 4. Tell us how you doing.
Thank you, Dr. Francis. I'm doing well. I had hoped to be here earlier, just a little surprised by Highway 4 traffic.
That bottleneck traffic is something else, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
That bottleneck traffic is something else, isn't it?
It is. Highway 4. Yeah.
But we're glad that you are here. Tell us how you're just doing, because we know elections, and you've run for several offices, are not easy. They are very taxing on your body, on your mental health. How are you doing right now on November 3rd, 2020?
Thank you. That's an awesome question. So actually, I'm doing well. I decided, because of COVID-19 and the negative impact on families of color, specifically Black Americans and Latin Americans, that I would not spend a lot of money on a campaign. So I made a conscious decision to not do that.
All right.
Putting families first always, and then just thinking about the families that are hungry, you know, that are trying to make ends meet. So absolutely, just putting families first. I decided,
not this year.
I don't think so. Not this year. It didn't seem appropriate for me.
Not appropriate this year. Got you. No, I totally understand. Why should the voters have voted for you? Why?
Well, one of the reasons is I want to bring, I'm multi-ethnic, and I want to bring Black and Indigenous voices to the table. I think we need diversity. We need diversity of opinion. We have people of Native descent here, which I am, and also of, mixed race African descent. And so I think we need that voice at the table. And the other thing is I've heard from quite a few people about rates and conservation, and people just want things to be better. And I'm also going to be there to support employees as a mental health professional. Obviously, as a board of director, you're not doing the job, and it's going to be interesting. And I would be the first woman of color ever elected to that seat.
So this is a historic election tonight.
It is another historic election, and it's 84 years.
84 years. And if you win tonight, Contra Costa Water District 4, she will be the first African American to break through that glass ceiling.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would be the first, absolutely, of African descent and of other ethnic descents. I would be the first. That is absolutely correct.
Oh, there you go. There you go again.
The ancestors will be happy.
The ancestors, you're making us proud. You're making us proud. So, my water bill is high. What should I do? She said, turn it off.
Actually, make sure there's no leaks. You can always come and have it. You can always call and have it assessed.
All right.
And they'll come and check it for you. And Antioch does its own. We buy water from Contra Costa County, but they do their own billing. They have their own system.
Okay. How can we make sure that Antioch, California, does not become Flint, Michigan?
That was one of the reasons I'm running. The other reason I'm running is safety. I don't know if people are aware that quite a few children out of Antioch drowned at some of those open canals because they drop a book or somehow a shoe or something would drop and they think they would go in. The water just looks like, it's just there. They don't see the current. And so I'm really concerned about water safety in the open canals, which also means that anybody can drop, you can drop anything in. I just saw a story, I believe it was San Francisco, I'll have to look it up, where, you have the open waterways, and you have the signs that tell people this is a public water supply, don't put anything in there, but it just depends on people's state of mind, at the time that they're in the area. I think we've been blessed that nothing has happened so far to our water, so we can be grateful for that, but we can also do better.
All right. You are a former Antioch Unified School District school board member and trustee.
That is correct.
Talk about your experience as an African American there, because you went through a lot. And I don't think a lot of people, this is for East County North Star. And so we have people from all different ethnic backgrounds that listen, but we are focusing on African American voices. What are some of the things that you went through just as an African American? So
actually it's very interesting. One of the things that people who don't have melanin, one of the things they don't realize is that women of color are very passionate. And so if you don't know the difference between passion and anger, you'll confuse the two. And I think often women of color, black women specifically, are mischaracterized as angry black women. And so when you come in with a specific purpose, a specific idea, I was a volunteer in the community working with Cisco and some of the other groups, really trying to impact education, so we raised the test scores, and just really trying to do what is right for families that are marginalized. And oftentimes, if you have a different opinion or you're not going to go along just to get along, you can be mischaracterized. And so I think when I came on the board, they weren't used to people asking questions, and they weren't used to having people on the board with such strong views. But I've spent my career in education, serving children as a mental health professional at a very close level to families. And so you get a sharper view of needs and what's needed in education, from restorative justice to helping students pass to supplying families, giving them resources so they have food to eat and so they have places that they can assess if they need a place to live. And so there's been a real shift, even since I've been on the board, because more families are homeless and the needs are far greater. And you've heard from John Lewis to everyone say, education is the great equalizer. And I think education will always be the great equalizer, and we need to make sure that as a society we can be sustainable. That means having apprenticeship programs. Even at the water district, you can, think forwardly and, just think forward in terms of how we want our society to be and how we're going to set our children up to have sustainable communities. We need to make those resources available for them, but first and foremost, they need to learn, they need to know to read and write, the basics. Reading, writing, and math. And so I think that when people aren't used to a different opinion, often you are mischaracterized and you're placed into like a caricature image. And so people don't understand, you have a family too, and you have, and you have a right to your opinion.
Okay.
You have a right to say and advocate for what families need. And I think for black families and for families of African descent or mixed race, multi-ethnic families, I think it can be a real challenge to navigate the public education school system. And that does not include the students with special needs and disabilities. They also need help, and the families need resources.
So you were on the school board for 4 years, correct?
Yes, 4 years.
4 years. You've experienced discrimination.
Discrimination, bias, harassment, absolutely.
Public character assassination.
Yes, public character assassination, that is absolutely correct.
All these things are true, correct?
All these things are true.
And then these things are trickled down, unfortunately, to the students sometimes.
Yes, because the students are watching, and then you are a role model for students. So if they see you being bullied, lied on, attacked, then it can cause many students to lose hope.
The next Deborah Vincent is right there, probably at Antioch High or Deer Valley. She's thinking about running for school board one day. She looks up to someone like you, but she saw how they treated you. Why would you tell her to run? What encouragement can you give the next Deborah Vincent?
I would say you are the future. Put God first. You will always be protected. And I would say don't let other people get in the way of your life path. Everybody has a life path where, you're supposed to do something. And what most people don't understand is, I think winning is great, but if you have a desire on your heart to run for office, it's more important to follow through on that heart's desire, because all of those ideas come from God, really. Because if you look at society and all the bias and discrimination and systemic racism, and you're starting behind several doors. You're not at the first door. You're way in the back. Yeah. So you just have to keep going through the doors. Just keep going through the doors.
So be resilient.
Yeah, you have to be strong. You have to be resilient. Rely on people that you feel like you can trust, that really have your back. But more importantly, you really can't let people get into your direction of your life path, because God is the one that
Amen.
Directs and sets the path.
That's what he does. Now, 2 more questions for you. You've won races, you've lost races.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Now, here's the deal. Now, it's always fun to talk to the winners, because the winners always come in and tell you, I did this. But you've been on the other side.
Yes.
What do you say to the candidate? Because there are going to be a number of candidates that will not tonight or tomorrow morning get the news that they want. That unfortunately they did everything they could do and they fell short of their goal of winning the election. What do you tell them? But you're resilient, so you bounce back it's like Deborah Vincent is back. She's running for what county school, water district? I said Deborah Vincent is a fighter. So what do you tell the person that's going to get that news tonight?
So when I ran for school board, I was asked by the community to run, and running for water board, the same thing. People were saying we need a specific type of help, a very specific view. Obviously, I don't, I know about water. I study water reports. I study them all over. I look at water rankings in every city, because I really don't want any community within 100 miles, whatever, to fall prey to something that's Flint, Michigan.
Yes.
And so what I would say is stay on the path, because where your life is and how you live your life is between you and God, and people may try to give you a different narrative.
Okay.
But then, what I think the important thing to realize is they can try to do that.
Okay.
But as we know, there's always something spiritual. There's always something spiritual to be learned. But I always try to make sure that, you're not purposefully causing harm. You're not blocking anybody else's path, because you don't know what God places on people's heart to do. And you don't want to ever, as a human being, block that spiritual life or path that God
Amen.
has people on.
Amen.
And I know that, I know my pastor talk about systemic racism and how it's just wrong. I think that, he has lessons and sermons and things online that people can go and take a look. And so I think our humanity is what makes us strong. And so I just think we have to keep moving. We have to keep going.
Got to keep moving. All right, here's the last question.
The easiest thing in the world to do is to criticize and to put people
True.
down. The hardest thing in the world to do is to try to learn and have an understanding and to respect people. And that's the hardest thing to do, because, it's just easy to fall back on that.
So for people that don't know, Deborah Vincent, as we talked about earlier, right, a lot of times black folks are victimized because of the wrong narrative, right? Emmett Till killed, wrong narrative. George Floyd, the wrong narrative. Somebody believed the wrong narrative. That's why it's very important. That's why we're having this platform now, that we tell our own stories, right? That we advocate and tell our own stories. And so whatever you read is what you read. But now you hear her story from her, so she is able to tell her truth. And this is why we have the East County North Star, so that we can tell our truth. We can have our truth. Our voices can be heard. Now I'm going to leave you with this question. Now, the state of the Antioch Unified School District, where is it? What changes would you make? What is the number one thing that needs to happen? What needs to happen?
So one of the things I say in my ballot statement is that we need people at the top level, people in leadership roles, to reflect the population.
Okay.
So in order to give our children hope, they need to see themselves through you in those roles. They need to see you advocating. They need to see you speaking up for them. Now, granted, I think that we all have to be responsible and make sure we're doing the right thing. And that's kind of how I feel, and I feel God will do the rest. And sometimes, I'm like Jonah.
Okay.
Jonah didn't want to go.
He didn't
and
wanna
when
go.
he went, he was looking and waiting for bad things to happen.
Okay.
But sometimes we have to be willing to accept, if God puts a desire on your heart, you have to be willing to also to accept the outcome.
That's true.
And so I think that being on the school board was a really positive learning experience. I would encourage people to be on that board, but I also would say that we need people that understand the plight of families and the plight of students, and specifically those students who are marginalized and at the margins of society. We have to be willing to do everything we can to help those families so they can help build strong communities,
So
strong schools.
If tonight I don't know if you want to go ahead and on live television, who would be your pick for school board? If tomorrow you had your way, you could pick.
So I think that we have
And you don't have to answer if you don't want.
we have people running that have shown really good character and really high interest in children.
Okay.
And so that's what you want, because I feel that if you really what school board is about supporting the children. People get on and they make their decisions and they do other things. But really it's about supporting the children and supporting families, because you want strong communities. When I was on the board, I wanted Antioch Unified to be a destination district.
Okay.
And as you know, when you're in there trying to make, the letters and the phone calls, and you're trying to make solid decisions, but oftentimes if others are not collaborative, then it can create a lot of chaos, it can create a lot of false narratives, and people begin to form those narratives. And so You know, I would say that I was told that if you're not being, actually when I first got on the board, I was told by people, former employees, everybody, blah, 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 certain things. And I knew that and I took it to heart. But that didn't absolve me of advocating for children and families. So you must always do the right thing.
That's true.
Even as a mental health professional, you're not absolved of your responsibilities if you're advocating for children and families. You must do the right thing.
Got you.
So I would encourage people to run.
So no picks.
Huh?
No picks tonight. That's okay. You don't have to.
So actually, I don't have a vote because my district isn't up yet.
Not up. Okay.
So my district's not up, but I would encourage everyone to do your homework. There are some really solid people running. I'm amazed by how many people are running for all the seats, school board, city council.
Yes.
And I think Antioch's blessed to have a choice. We're
All
always
right.
blessed to have a choice.
We'll take that, because I know once you endorse somebody, you're like, the other side of Antioch doesn't even want to talk to you. I get it.
And I
understand.
know, I'll just say, many people have asked me to tell my story and to write that story. But at the time that all of these events were happening, I'd lost my father.
Yeah.
And my father was really instrumental to me because as a kid, there was an incident that happened. And my father was the one there. And if it hadn't been for him,
Yes.
I probably wouldn't be sitting, I wouldn't be here literally, because he stood up, to protect me as his child.
Yes.
And so I think
That's
that
important.
we have to slow down. We have to, we have to try to gain an understanding of where people are coming from. And even if you don't want to gain an understanding, at least to respect the humanity that people come with.
Amen.
So that's what I would say. It's really
That's-
important to respect humanity that we all come with.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for stopping by with us. And we have some people that have been with us for 2 hours, and thank you.
I appreciate you all for being online and waiting.
All right. You guys give it up for Deborah Vinson. Deborah Vinson, thank you guys so much. All right. Let's go ahead and close up right here. We're going to sign off. Brothers and sisters, in East County, there are over 47,000 African Americans. Today, we know that you made your voice heard. This is our time. If not now, then when? If not you, then who? Our ancestors came to this country in 1619. They were enslaved by European powers, but God had us in the plan, and they survived. They survived. Why even live when you have to pick cotton from sun up to sundown? They did it because they saw you, they saw me, they saw the opportunities that we would have to continue this fight for liberation, for justice. They saw it. And so we cannot give up the fight. Tonight, thank the God of heaven that we were in the plans and that he had his hand watching out over us collectively. He had his hand watching out over us. Tonight, no matter who wins the presidency, just know this: be anxious for nothing, but by everything in prayer and petition, let your requests be made known to the Lord. And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. No matter who wins the mayor's race or the school board or the city council, just know that God is still on the throne. Until the next time, my friend, I am Dr. Lamont Francis, pastor of the Delta Bay Church of Christ, here 55 East 18th Street in the city of Antioch. We want to say, God bless you and good night. Take care.